223 222 3101 027 624 We'll also have you join us on Facebook as well, on the verified Facebook page, Planet Radio 101.1 FM. We'll go right there underneath the live feed. Drop a comment to take them as they come. Otherwise, head to the Planet 101 FM spot page. There's a post published there for you. Drop a comment and let's take them every step of the way. My name is Raj James. An exciting afternoon rather, to be back here alongside Mariz and Emmanuel that is back here as well after some days off. And Bldyz came to join the conversation, and together with the undersigned would look at the stories in very fine details. Thank you for joining.
Nothing unites the world like football. Join the football community here on Planet 101 FM, Uyo.
Talking. It is now 4 consecutive wins for the Desert Foxes against the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and in 4 games for Jose Santos Pizarro, it's 3 defeats and just a single draw. So back here, let's talk about that game in very fine details. Mari, overall, tell us about your impression of the game last night in Oran.
Well, right, a fine game from a neutral perspective. First up, was an interesting game. A game I would call a game of 2 halves, because the Super Eagles were particularly very good in the first half, went 2-2 with the Algerians. But the second half, they particularly succumbed to the pressure and the quality that the Algerians brought into the field of play, right? And I think, there was a lot of positives and negatives you take from that particular game. Now, begin with the positives, and I think maybe Solarek will talk about the negatives, because I love to be positive, basically. And I think, I saw the partnership of Kevin Akpogum and Calvin Bassey, and I think it'll make a lot of sense if they start a lot more often for the national team, because I saw synergy. And then in the wake of the new system of playing from the back and then possession-based football, I think both players would integral and key to whatever I wanted. Alex Iwobi had a fine game, had a decent, especially in the first half in that particular game, put up a fine performance worthy of note if you'd ask me. And then, although the team lacked directness, right, especially in the second half, but a few players were direct. Talk about Demola Lokman, had a fine game on the night, had a few dribbles, and the likes of Terry Murphy, who scored a 90-minute goal for the national team. He put up a performance that is worthy of note and made a strong case for himself ahead of, a certain lineup, and then maybe a competition with the likes of Victor Osimhen, Cyril Dessers, and the rest of them for that number 9 shirt in the national team right there. So holistically, the boys, it was not completely a bad game. Yes, we lost by 2 goals, but I think there were a lot, to cheer the boys about, and the fact that we still have quality in the national team. But I'll let Solarek talk about the negatives, because, like I said, I want to be a positive person this afternoon.
Right now, Solarek says, let's talk about that game X-rated a lot more. But one thing is very clear. In the build up to this particular game from last week, actually, we've sat here and, repeatedly talked about goalkeeping problems. And how that issue needs to be fixed almost immediately. If the Super Eagles are to make any impacts in future friendlies and future competitions they'll be playing in. And after 2 games against 2 different Algerian teams, one fact remains. Jose Pizarro needs to solve this goalkeeping problem. Madakal Koye was a culprit on Friday. But yesterday, looking back at that goal, Ato scored in about 60th minutes without particular encounter. Many look back and say, well, Madakal Koye should have done better there.
Right. For how long we will continue to talk about the goalkeeping departments? First up, as a good manager in which Jose Pizarro is, coming to the national team, I expected him, to first of all rectify that particular, aspect of the team as well. Looking for a better goalkeeper, dropping the 2 goalkeepers because, we've all tried, all positive things to make sure they come out strong anytime anytime they put on the jerseys to represent the Super Eagles or something, but that failed us, time and time again. So I think he should just focus his attention maybe to the home base, players in the MPFL and see how they can get the perfect results to fit in that particular aspect. But Brett, I just feel it's a game, the Super Eagles missed Victor Osimhen in that particular game. The miss Osimhen because looking at that particular game, the Algerians were very precise. They had 4 shots on target and they were able to score just 2. Compared to Nigeria, we had 6 shots on target. So in which how wish Osimhen was there, they could have been able to score even 5 goals because looking at the way the Algerians play, Brett, they play like a bully. Kevin Ekbukuma, Kevin Bassi, they had a fantastic game, but as you feel they could have done more in that particular game. A lot of fans will say it is what it is because it's a friendly game, but we need to do enough. Looking at the friendlies Jose Pizarro has played, we lost to Mexico 2-1, we lost to Ecuador 1-0, and now we've lost to Algeria. The saddest thing has to be is another North African team. For how long we will keep on complaining, struggling to win this North African. We lost against Tunisia. So, Bright, it's a friendly game. We need to win, and I was expecting the Eagles to win, and get the fans back on their side after failing to qualify for the World Cup and going as far as they thought in the AFCON as well. So, Bright, it's just a reality check. You could get beaten on every fine day, but the reaction after this particular one will be the talk of the town. How can you bounce back after you've lost this particular game, Bright?
All right, now, Bldyz, John's conversation now. Very quickly, let's talk about the Super Eagles conversation here, and it's all about that game last night. Now, we've sat here and you'd agree that Algeria, despite the quality we talked about before kickoff, didn't quite call themselves in glory. Now, they looked a very peripheral side for bulk of the fixture. And, many say this is Algeria at their lowest. And if you can't be Algeria at their lowest moments, because they couldn't make the World Cup on the back of a disappointing African Cup of Nations, the Super Eagles unarguably had a better outing at the competition despite exiting at the group or at the knockout stage compared to Algeria. So if we can be Algeria, a terrible Algerian side, a poor Algerian side now, when will we ever manage to do that?
Well, based on the conversation you're bringing up, Brett James, I've never really seen Algeria as a very strong side.
Yeah.
Exception of that moment we saw them at the Nations Cup they won. They weren't the favourites at the Nations Cup they won, but they gave a good performance. Came with a new coach at the time, gave a good performance, and bam, they won the Nations Cup. But over the years, we've played Algeria also. We've beaten them prior to the World Cup, stopped them. Yes, you can say it's far gone because John Obi Mikel was playing at the time. But it's what it is. Nigeria had a decent game as far as I'm concerned. Maybe we couldn't consolidate and get a win in that game. Maybe you couldn't get a draw because that's what I always talk about. First of all, it's not just about having beautiful games, playing the possession game for me. It's all about the tenacity, the fights, and getting a good result in the long run. And basically it is. But I think there are a lot of positive from this game. Saw the players playing, gave their bet, maybe disappointed from the fullbacks. Those are the areas I was mostly disappointed in. The fullbacks. Coach didn't start with a winning. Probably, maybe it could have been a better setup because this is it. Look at this.
But his replacement, the man who got the know ahead of Victor Osimhen got a goal.
Yeah, this where I'm going to. This where I'm going to. Sometimes not just about getting the goal. I saw the goal Terry Murphy get. Kelechi Iheanacho did the strike, dropped by, he completed. Fine goal, no doubt. But this is it. You look at the system you get to play. Terry Murphy, not always that point player you get. He likes to drift in also at the time. Kelechi Iheanacho on the other hand. So they played some sort of flat attack. as far as I'm concerned. So he gives the defenders the leisure to express themselves, talking about Algerian defender in that game. In the long run, we miss Osimhen or a point striker in the game. But for me, on the average, it was a good performance, just dissatisfying that we're not able to consolidate, at least pull out a draw in that game.
Right now, let's talk about the game in retrospect still. What was a striking moment or stood out in the game for you, good or bad?
It was a good game in my own perspective, but the problem that we have here is that we are yet to come up with a team that can, an outfit that can at least restore the fear factor as far as Nigerian football is concerned. We went on against Algeria, not a very strong side at the moment, and we could not stamp authority. And somehow I'm disappointed on this man. Kelechi Iheanacho. This is a young man who has been in the mix for some time now. He has played in almost every underage competition for Nigeria and playing in a level that I will describe as under-finish, using the grassroots language, under-finish. With his availability, we should not be missing Victor Osimhen at this point in time because he has been there, he has the experience, he has also gathered some experience in Europe. But on the whole, I think another area that I was also disappointed is the goalkeeping department. We cannot continue to be talking about these two goalkeepers who are yet to stamp authority, who are yet to convince everybody. Whereas we have all other goalkeepers in the league. Why don't we bank on Dewale Denka? Why don't we bank on goalkeepers like Victor Sochima of Rivers United? And I think Bankole Adeleke was also in the camp. In 2004, Bryce Vincent Yaman was playing for Imba when he was called upon and he established himself in the national team. He won the Champions League with Imba. Yes. But a goalkeeper doesn't need to win the Champions League with the local league. But we have quality goalkeepers in the league who can also be integrated into the setup.
Now, no disrespect and no insight of calling short there. You look back at that squad, that Ayimba squad that dominated Africa, won back-to-back CAF Champions League titles. Ayimba was part of that squad as well. You know, the likes of Nwaneri and the rest of them. It was a revelation that term. The quality of the league then, the caliber of the players who had then, and the caliber we have now. Do we have players, Bldyz, that you think we pick and they're walking to the national team and fight favorably or compete with the foreign pros for starting berth?
I would say we don't. This is it. It starts from the quality of the league. When I go to the stadium to watch, in particular, Aqua United or Dakar, I get disappointed. Because I even feel in my playing days, I could have stepped in there and just get a shot without being fit. Yeah, because of the quality of the game I see right there. I'm talking about as someone who's at least attempted going pro on this game. Right. When you're talking about Ayimba's period, even the likes of Brown at the time, they weren't called to the national team, but they gave you good football. Right now, I can't support one player. It's not about giving opportunity in the national team. I'm talking about a player that you call to the national team now, and he steps in, and you feel that you just called an international player to play. That's the question. That's the concern. I've not seen one. In Aqua United in particular, the last big player I saw in Aqua United was Ubongai. Have not seen any of those players play at that level. What I mean that level, bring the momentum in game when he comes in. And he's not even had a shot at the Super Eagles. That's what I'm talking about. I think we're devoid of that level of quality, maybe level of experience.
Yeah, what's the conversation now? Sorex, now let me come to you. You're a big fan of this league. You've been a keen follower of this league. Now, you think the guys, the Sochima you're mentioning, Adewale Adenka, well, we've seen Adewale at Chan qualifies, right?
Well, I never mentioned Adewale.
No. Adewale's been in the conversation. I've been in.
Yeah, he's been.
I've been in certain groups, and then Adewale has come. Has been there. We've had, Gode Onobo, the Dakar goalkeeper, also coming. There's conversation for the national team.
How about Zenwa?
Now,
right. Let's look at it.
Chan is an exposure. That's where you expose this player.
You're going far. Chan is far.
No, let me stay with
CAF Champions League.
Now, so
Confederations Cup.
When you play these guys at continental competitions like that, where they get to play their peers.
Yeah.
So there's no inferiority or superiority complex, whatever. They are par. We're talking. You play in your local league. I play my local league. You're champion in your league. I'm champion in my league.
Absolutely.
They can't compete there. Well, now you go to Chan. It's almost a similar situation. Look at the story of
Ghana. Qualify.
And then when you qualify for Chan, our best result there has been what? Final performance where we were pummeled by Morocco. So you pick players in that league.
That's a long time.
To walk into the national team.
We can't qualify now. That's the thing.
Same question from, I put across the line. Do we have those players that can we're not talking about giving an opportunity to home-based players now. We're talking about
players that can
a
compete.
ready-made international player that can compete with Alex Iwobi, can compete with even the Maduka Okoye, Francis Zoho. We're talking about now. We pick him and he walks into the national team and give those guys a run for their money. Do we have them?
Bright, we have them.
Who? Mention.
I'll start with the goalkeeper of Remo Stars, although they crashed out of the CAF Champions League. Bright, I watched some clips of that particular game in the first leg of the tie. He saved Remo Stars in that particular game. They drew 1-1. But Bright, come on, he was the man of the match. Undisputed. You can't put out such a good performance. If you're the goalkeeper, you're doing the job. Your defense have to do the job as well. You can't put it's a team game, not only based on the goalkeeper as well. But Bright, looking at the players, and another thing has to be trusting these players. Trust these players. Bukayo Saka, who is now the English Player of the Year, if Arteta didn't trust him, to get into the first team and get the result, is the numbers.
Yeah, but we've trusted them at the CAF Champions League, Mari. We've trusted them at the CAF Confederations Cup.
Right. I totally agree that we don't have that quality to compete with the boys in the national team because the demands are different when it comes to the national team and the MPFL. But Bright, we've trusted Maduka Okoye and Uzo for 5 years now. 5 years now. And in local balance, nothing come out. We trusted Kelechi Iheanacho for 6 years now. Kelechi Iheanacho still cannot, be that player that takes national team on his shoulders in the last 6 years. What if we pick an Adeyinka and trust him like that for 5 years and see? That's what I'm saying. What if we pick Sochima, for instance, and trust him like that for 5 years? Unfortunately, the queue is Ezenwa, who was trusted for I think 4 or 5 years, didn't come through. But I think if we pick those boys, bring them in national team every single game, they get to acclimatize to the situation. Once or twice they get to play, you'd see improvement, Bright. Believe me.
The last time they were trusted against, I think it was Mexico. A lot of Nigerians said, please, we don't need this level of embarrassment. They didn't have a shot on target.
I know. That's one-off game. That's my point. My point is trust them. Let them. We're letting Uzo make errors. We're letting Maduka Okoye make errors, right?
No.
We're not.
It's not because we're trusting them.
No, but
it's because they're at a level.
Right. Now, Mari, let's look at something.
Right.
Let's drive down the conversation. So
Yeah.
you're saying, let's trust them. Let's trust Adeyinka. So you're basically saying that they would make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Now, if they make the mistakes, are you also saying drop your demands as a national team and as a country of winning AFCON?
No.
Not even winning AFCON. You don't say if you're beating 5-0.
At big games.
No,
right?
I can't possibly say that.
Yeah,
I can't possibly say that, right?
Put it in
Here's my point. No, here's my point, right? Here's my point. Yesterday we talked about bringing in more goalkeepers to the national team. We have goalkeepers scattered across this world. Bring them in, give everybody a chance, to play. But while you're bringing the foreign base, at least have one person in the home from the home scene that gets called up every time, trains to the national team, improves his game, and then once in a while you get him to play.
But we had
That's what I'm saying. Isn't why is the only cue. Unfortunately, he didn't come out well. But if you carry I believe you
guys. The problem.
Now let's look at something. When you're taking a sample, let's say, sport presenters here, you take Mari, right? Mm-hmm. So when you take Mari from here to represent Planet FM, it is seen that Mari is the best of the bunch.
Gets to a standard.
Now, he's the best from the bunch here, right? So Mari will now be seen, when you sample the whole, as a reflection of this bunch.
Yeah.
Right? Now, we've had that over time. Can we say...
Right, there's an error limit to your sampling. There's an error limit, right? We're talking about individuals who have got different qualities. They've got unique abilities as well, right? So that's my point. Ikechukwu, unfortunately, wasn't even the best when he was called up to the national team. And there were still talks about him being dropped and then somebody else called up, right? So we have a goalkeeping coach. You should watch these games and then pick one he sees as the best of all of them. Bring him to the national team. Don't play him yet. Let him watch the players. Learn, do the training sessions together. His technical abilities will grow. Basically, there's a goalkeeping coach, of course.
But to also add to that, I think the mentality of these guys is that when they are called up, they will not be given an opportunity to also stepping between the sticks, because that's what we've seen over time. Because you look at the situation whereby these two goalkeepers, also and Maduka, they just have believed that when they are invited, that they will be the men to do the job, and it always come out the way they predict, and at the end of the day we keep getting the same result. It doesn't help the national team. If we must improve, then we must take a step.
Let's look at something, Bldyz. Still staying with this conversation of a home base and giving, a home base players the opportunity. Now, we've seen it happen time and time again. You invite a player to the national team, and it's just an avenue to sell him. Yeah. So the player won't stay home based.
Of course.
Now, so
and shouldn't.
the moment he leaves Nigeria, right, he's now seen as an international player.
That's where I was about going.
Yeah, he's seen as an international player, whether he plays in Zambia, he plays in Liberia, plays in Tunisia. He's competing at the same pace with Maduka Okoye that plays in Watford. He's not an no longer qualifies as a home-based player. Now, we've seen it, happen time and time again. Adewale Adeyinka was invited to the national team a couple of times, and he almost ran out of the country if that deal didn't fall through. Right?
Right. Before you explain, I'll ask two questions. Right. One question rather. Are you inviting this player because he's an home-based player, or inviting him because he's the best we had around? He's the best, or because of the quality?
Mariz going back to the conversation we had before. You're basically going back to the conversation. Here is it.
Yeah.
Two things happened to Alec that I've noticed. Alec seemed to be, you play one season, you score 10 goals, pew, you're out. So we don't have seasoned, experienced players. For me, that has been the gap. That makes it difficult for home-based players to fit into the national team. We're not having players who had consistent performance on the home base scene. And the quality of the home base is driven low. Why? Because the very best among you, the moment he has a good season, is out. So it's a system where we're sieving these players out. So you're getting the best out immediately, getting the best out, and not giving them sustained.
All right, so Mari, you keep inviting the player from Oman, even when you're not seeing him play, because you invited him once because he was at Akwa United. So he comes to the national team.
So let me just finish.
Time and time again. When yesterday we sat here, yesterday, and then we talked about Maduka Okoye and Franz Zoho, and we talked about the fact that even in Europe, as experienced and as developed as Europe is, there's still caliber and quality. There are gradings. Yeah, absolutely. You look at UEFA and how they share the quota system. Some leagues have better grading and rating compared to the others. Why? That's down to quality. So even when there's disparity in that Europe, Ammonia Nicosia in Cyprus, and then Nottingham, let's say Watford in the English Championship. So we should now lower the standard, because we invited a player, he was once good at Kwara United, had one good season, has now run to Oman. That gives him the license to be invited. Time in, time out for the national team, just to keep trying him out and just to try to see how we can fix our problems.
Well, right. First up, I'll say this. It's not his fault that the league is like this. It's not his fault. Yeah, it's a holistic problem. But now, if you invited him and so he was good enough for your national team, even if he wants to play in Zambia, bring him to play. Bring him.
Do we have players that have shown that they're good enough? Because it all begins with training.
That's what
it begins in the training. The coaches, time and time again, can be stupid, can be silly enough to know that there's a problem in this team or in this department, and this guy is a solution. And they just bench him because he plays for Kwara United. We saw Sunday Mba, the 2013 Nations Cup, Mari, for God's sake. Didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Mari, before you come, let me just say this.
All right.
Osaze Odewingie came to the national team through the home base scene. And he was regarded as the best player in the Nigerian Premier League. Ahmed Musa came to the national team well qualified from home base. He was regarded as the best player in the Nigerian Professional Football League. The question is now, Etebo came to the national team through the home base. And they walked in there, everyone gave them opportunity. Fans clamored because we knew how good they were. The question I would ask Mari and Solorex and everyone who's been saying it, who's the best player in the Nigerian Premier League right now?
Bldyz.
If you can answer that question to me, that player should be able to walk into the national team and compete with the best. I can guarantee you cannot answer that question.
Bldyz.
Tell me the best player in the Nigerian Premier League right now.
Bldyz.
I've given you names: Ahmed Musa, Osazo Dengue, Etebo, and the rest. They walk.
Let me allow you. Let me help you. Ponder on that question while we go to the phone lines and talk about this. Welcome, football fan. Name and location. Good to have you join us.
Good afternoon, Black and Frosty.
Thank you for joining us.
But let me just add my own contribution. The bane of Bldyz team is, at no more Super Eagles, the bane of Bldyz team is one summation. Inviting bench warmers in foreign clubs to play matches. But what's wrong with Olisanda? They should emulate from Brazil or North African country. They can't play any match without 3 or 4 home days. Nigeria, the case is different. Our league is not working.
Yeah, but Olisanda,
politicians are fighting.
Olisanda is no longer home base.
Who will be holding the NFF and all the rest. What it is a detriment to Nigerian football. Okay, look at, I wonder how proper match of that magnitude between Nigeria and Algeria. Nigeria. Everybody's at the nature of the referee. Nigeria needs scoring chances. But someone say it was a good match, which I disagree. I wonder what Kenneth Omero was doing in the bench. There's no leadership in the field. That is his role, did not do his job well. Who's going to call a grudge? We should let them go.
All right.
Let them go and look at local lads.
All right.
Give them the confidence. Not ratio of deeds. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. There we go again. We talk about local lads. Yeah.
Well, I agree there should be quota
Right.
system.
I'd also say something, right?
Should be quota system.
Yeah, the quota system. I'll say something, right? You know, our league is not good enough. Players are not good enough. But John Fala got the call up to the Cameroon national team from Akwa United. He wasn't even starter. You know, he was second fiddle, but he got the call up to the Cameroon national team, right?
Played how many games?
Well, he's playing the friendlies now. He's playing friendlies now.
No wonder they're beating black and blue.
No, it's not that. He's playing friendly. He qualified for the World Cup. And then if things
They
go
were
well,
beaten by Uzbekistan.
if things go well, he's going to go to the World Cup.
Mari, they were beaten by Uzbekistan.
No, the point is, no, here's the point. No, here's the point. If he was not good enough, why is he called up to the Cameroon national team that's going for the World Cup? So let's look inwards, right? Apart from, okay, I'll ask Bldyz particularly. Apart from Akwa United and Dakar, how many other MPFL matches does he get to watch to see the quality that we really have? Right. Secondly, right, we don't talk about all 20 MPFL teams here. So there are quality players around that we don't even know about.
Yeah, but you know,
That's the
Mari,
problem.
all of the 20 teams come to you.
Yeah. They
Right?
do.
Now, for a start, you know, let's beyond Dakar and Akwa,
Yeah.
all of these teams come to you. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then we listen to shows outside Uyo. Right? I'm talking for an average fan now.
Yeah.
You know, so not everyone has the opportunity of traveling out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we listen to shows and we read publications.
Absolutely.
You know, so if they're that good, then how come they are so hidden? Like, they are so hidden. No one.
Right.
No one
I did
has
ask
spotted.
a question.
No,
I need the
here's the
answer
point.
to that question, Mari.
Yeah.
Who can you say is the best player in the league?
Well, they just completed league. I'll mention 5 players. I'll mention 5.
That's the problem.
Right.
The problem is this.
Right.
When they say Ahmed Musa is the best player, everyone agrees.
Hold your thoughts.
When they
Welcome,
say
football
Osaze
fan.
was,
Name and
everyone
location.
agree.
Good to have you join us.
Hello?
Yeah, good to have you. Welcome. We can have you. We can hear you rather. Please join the conversation on 090-222-310 and 1027 624-565. Now, we'll talk about home base. And that quota system would bring another problem. I'll tell you why in a bit. Welcome, football fan. Name and location.
Hello, good afternoon, Brian.
Yeah, Victor, the sport oracle.
Yeah, good afternoon, Arizona and sorry, Ed. Brian, let me say that I was also disappointed with the performance of the Super Eagles. So up to this time, Nigeria cannot have their own first 11. It's a shame, Brian. Let me say something that all Nigeria, all people that we know that we have what we can really test for. But the platform that we set football in Nigeria are not helping. So on this international foreign-based player didn't start in Nigeria. And what do you expect them? If you go and ask this player, they say the NFL is not paying wages, paying bonus, just try to consider.
Please, I want the coach of the Super Eagles to come back here in Nigeria and look for the home base player that he can train. You cannot stay in calling player anytime we have matches. It will not work out. Let me wish Flamingo ladies all the best when our match starts. That's my thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Well, would break and allow more fans join the conversation. Would also check out Facebook in a bit. 0817 624 565 is also available for you to be a part of the show. Welcome, football fan. Name location.
Good afternoon, Bright.
Thank you for joining
Another
us.
analyst in the studio. It's nice calling from Akaiti now.
Welcome, Max.
I cannot judge the Super Eagles' performance based on the goalkeeper because the goal I saw can be scored against any other goalkeeper. What happens in football is when you miss your step and the ball flies to the opposite direction, it's difficult for him to save the ball. I still prefer Uzoho to Maduka Okoye. And I think the boys put their best effort. After most of their first 11, 6 injured and returned to their various medical attention. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining the conversation. We appreciate you this afternoon. Well, we've been dwelling a lot on the home base and the other conversation, and we've not talked about that midfield and the age-long problem. That's another place we have a problem because we missed one player, Wilfred Didi, and it all came crashing down. It was the same story at the World Cup qualifiers against Ghana. We lost Wilfred Didi, we lost the middle of the park, and we lost the game. Welcome, football fan. Name, location. Good to have you join us. Can you walk away from the radio set? Okay.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk to us.
Good afternoon and good morning. Bright.
Yes.
You are the right track now. Very good right track. God will bless you and all of you in the studio. Shout so that they will hear that politicians should give up in sports in Nigeria. That is the only consolation we have in this country is that sports. Tell them to go away. Give chance to 8 players, international players in Nigeria. They have really gone to training. Look at what you are saying there. They are annoyed. Continue. God will bless you people. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you very much for joining the conversation. We appreciate you thoroughly. Mario, check out Facebook for us in a bit so we can have the comments from there and have the fans join the conversation. But we're still on the phone lines now. Welcome, football fan. Name, location.
Hello, good afternoon, James.
Thank you for joining. If you're...
Hello, good afternoon, James.
Just go ahead. They can hear you.
My name is Israel Domingo, calling from North. I cannot hear you. I'm sorry you can hear me. I'm surprised that Nigerians are disappointed with the performance of Super Eagles. I don't know why they are disappointed. Remember, this is a Pesero came in as the manager of Super Eagles. When we had options of choosing from Lang and others, he came in as the cheapest option. So they were saying that, well, what do you expect when you are married to a witch? He came in as the cheapest option, so there is nothing, and there is no way he can offer more. Nigerians are not giving him much. So we Nigerians should not expect much. I'm looking forward to the games, the EPA that will take place this season. This weekend. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That's a twist. That's a twist to that conversation. Hello, football fan.
Hello, good afternoon. It's Father Nelly.
Thank you very much for joining. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
I'm Joy calling from Medina.
All right, go ahead.
Super Eagles' performance yesterday night, I wasn't impressed. Let me just put it that way. They didn't have it. They had a nice game in the first, 15 minutes. But after that, again, they were lost. After immediately Algerians scored the first goal, Super Eagles were nowhere to be found. But my surprise was, how did they attack that fine? It's like they came all out to attack when they lost the game. That was my problem. Something could have been done, but the coach refused to do it and believed maybe he will pull out a draw. So I still wish them good luck with the upcoming games. And I want to know, how about the game they wanted to play against Portugal?
No, the next international window.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very
much. Keep on doing the good job on Planet FM.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Hello, football fan, name and location. Good to have you join us. Welcome.
Yeah, Uncle Bright, good afternoon.
Yeah, welcome.
My other brothers in the studio. Augustine Bennett calling from abroad.
Welcome, Augustine.
Uncle Bright, I want to thank you for for doing justice to our bad exhibition we played yesterday. You know, I keep wondering what is happening to Nigeria when it comes to football. We lost everything. If not our Iwobi, I've seen it. He's trying to, see how I can assist the game yesterday. We lost everything. In the midfield, there was no creativity. So I don't know. I think we should, pray for the national team, for them to, look for a way to bring our football back again, because we lost our football. And right, I don't hear you talk about Akwa United, because you see our league is going to start. I don't know whether they are signed players. And finally, I really want to know what really happened between Chelsea and Brighton in that training match. I know some people will be flying their face.
Well, let's leave that for the weekend. As we gravitate towards the weekend, we'll have a lot more time. Mariz, SolarX prepare Facebook for us after now. Welcome, football fan. Name and location.
Hello, Bright. Yes, I forgot to say kudos to skipper fantastic Mikel Obi for an early retirement from the game of soccer. To me, that retirement is early, but Mikel, he knows better. He knows his body language. He'll be remembered for good things that he has done in the game of soccer. But the next game against Portugal, there'll be a harvest of those. Guess what? Nigeria will be locked. Among the penalties, they are busy transition new brand jersey. There is a new brand jersey for World Cup for friendly matches. They are busy. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Let's go to Facebook, guys, and have the conversations from there as well.
Yeah, from the live feed, Ubong Umar say, good afternoon, Brian James and crew. Nigerian football, we go see something. Next tomorrow, night election, waiting Mosano go see for Nigerian football. Yesterday, na Zambia official pregnanted female football. Nigeria, Africa, Unadeo.
Right, so from the sports page, Eva Thompson says football is not for Nigeria. It's very sad Super Eagles losing to Algeria for a comeback. I can't wait to see my darling team beating City come this way and glory very Manchester United. I remain immortal. Thompson from Orogo now.
God's agreement. Tom says, good day, guys. You guys are doing the biggest job in the world. For Nigerian football is a global goalkeeping. For Nigerian problem, the goalkeeper and the defense is the problem. The NFF should wake up and do the right thing by inviting the right players, local and international. Thanks for the good job, guys.
This Alfred, the governor, says, I told you guys yesterday not to expect anything from Nigeria. The coach is clueless and the players were very lazy. All the same, the country is rotten, so expect nothing.
You can't say clueless.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful
to the coach.
To the coach, yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, maybe there are areas you think you should have done a lot better, but to brandish the man, just clueless, not sure.
Too harsh. Yeah. Israeli Mano says, good afternoon, sports crew. The Nigerian goalkeepers that are keeping on serving us breakfast every game. This life, no balance. Kanimo Senior says, I'm so happy Nigeria didn't qualify for the World Cup. The two active goalies we have are not helping matters at all. I think the coach should look back to our NPF and get Remo Stars goalie to fit into that shoe. If possible, they should reach out to him so he can come back and do whatever he did between the sticks. Guys, it's not funny again. Nigerian football is dying every day.
Savior Edit say, good afternoon, Planet Sports. I love you guys for giving us joy.
All right, so Anika Nabasi, Jesus says, concerning the Super Eagles, I think they're currently on promo because they can't win a single game.
Akbarawa Sami say, I'm disappointed in Nigeria.
Emedi Ansoko says, Akwa United signing 16 players is a welcome development, especially David Philip. As for Super Eagles, if not Maduka Okoye, it must be Francis Uzoa. I think it's time for MPF goalkeepers. Goalkeepers are given a chance to prove themselves.
Ode Alex says, good afternoon, guys. I'm happy with the friendlies. It has exposed a lot of things to our new coach to work on. Thanks for having me. Ateta Media Officer from Calabar.
The person should be bold to take certain decisions. I don't understand the reason Fernando Santos allowed Ronaldo to play 90 minutes yesterday with all their stars. He has to choose to play defensively, which is not helping the players play to their full potential. Yeah, and Mr. Sopas finally says, I advise Nigeria to forget about football and focus on corruption because we make it look too difficult. Imagine the nonsense the Super Eagles played yesterday. So embarrassing. Only Wobi and Bassi played like football. The rest was bad.
All right. Now, John Bibikel calls it time 20 massive years. And arguably one of Nigeria's finest and most decorated players in Europe. Won everything there was two win. Our Chelsea won 2 Premier League titles, 1 UEFA Champions League title, 1 Europa League Cup, but 3 FA Cup titles, and 1 League Cup in 372 appearances for the Blues. For the national team, the Afghan in 2013 stands up there. Also won the Olympic bronze medal with the Olympic team. Won the World Youth Championship, won the silver medal with the Nigerian team there as well. Many say Bldyz, the finest of the bunch in his era.
Right, James.
A big fan.
Yeah, big fan of John Obi Mikel. You know, I remember many years ago, people said, oh, he should have gone to Chelsea, should have gone to this. And I'm like, what's wrong with you people? Mention the player amongst them who's performed like John Obi Mikel. We saw it in the last national team. Yes, Chinedu Obasi did try. Fantastic player. But this is what I want to say. Oftentimes you judge what you've done over time, probably when you want to leave it or about to leave it. And guess what? I'm listening to all the encomiums from big players all around the world, and it speaks volume about the player. There have been 3 players who've been Nigerian projects over time. Nwankwo Kanu was Nigerian project at the time. John Obi Mikel was another one and lived up to it. And Kelechi Iheanacho was another one after that, but it's not really lived up to it.
You would like to put Kelechi Iheanacho.
No, but it's the truth. It's the truth. But John Obi Mikel, respect, man. I know JJ wasn't a Nigerian project at the time. It wasn't a Nigerian project. I can give why, but let's leave the conversation. But this is it, John Obi Mikel. If you ever have anyone to call a star boy, I hear a lot of players being called star boy. It's John Obi. He did everything. Much respect for him.
No, retired the same day with Fabian Delph. Retires at 35. Oh, how players is this play up to 40? Did you leave it too early, Emmanuel?
Actually, I was very, very happy when I saw that he has retired because he has had a very successful career. But one thing that made me disappointed is that when I considered, I pondered how that his contemporaries are faring at the moment, though many of them have gone, but we still have Lionel Messi in the mix, and Lionel Messi still plays for the national team. But in 2019, I think that particular Nations Cup, Mekulobi was nowhere to be found, but he had a very successful career, made about, 372 appearances for the Blues and 249 appearances in the Premier League. He was also part of the party that won the Champions League in 2012 with Chelsea, and he was part of the party that also lifted the trophy in South Africa for Nigeria, the AFCON trophy in South Africa. He has had a fantastic outing in his career, in his 18 years career, but I think he left somehow he left very early because we've seen the likes of Zlatan Ibrahimovic still plays in the national team and other players. But I'm not trying to compare him with those guys.
Everyone can be.
Yeah, everyone can be with Zlatan. I was going there, right? Secondly, his career had already dwindled. I mean, he was getting his contract terminated at Kuwait. He just wasn't having, the attention anymore. So I think it was time to call quits, right? But right before we leave the Mikel story, I was talking with my dad yesterday, and he said something about Mikel. He said that Mikel is the reason why Nigerians wear Chelsea jerseys to church for Thanksgiving, and that is it for me.
Yeah. One Chelsea lot of fans from this part of the world. When he made that move, decided against joining Manchester United. Controversially, said where. Oh, Bldyz, I think you should just drop it there. Let's move on.
One thing, please.
Okay.
One thing.
Yeah.
All right.
This is it. I hear everyone say Mikel Obi retired early, and I'm not getting it. Of all the Nigerians that retired in football, none of them retired at the age of 35. It's John Obi Mikel. Most Africans have not played football up to 35. So it's not early. He's done everything he needed to do in football. Yes, you can talk about European football. It's just now that players are retiring, are playing up to 35. But for now, 30. If you reach 31 and what's the benchmark, I think it's done enough.
Right. So the Nations League and some friendlies who saw Argentina, Solarex, they've stretched their unbeaten run ahead of the World Cup to 35. They took on who? Was it Jamaica?
Jamaica, yeah.
Little Messi stepped up the bench, scored twice. In that particular game, Lautaro Martinez with the other goal. They're putting together something fabulous, and many say that's a message to their fellow South Americans. Brazil. Well, Qatar, here we come.
Absolutely bright. Lionel Andres Messi, 35 years of age, aging like fine wine, bright. This man is irreplaceable at this moment. Fantastic lad, right? I just
Same
feel
35 with Mikel.
Bldyz fan, but Bright, I just feel this particular World Cup, Argentina will be unstoppable. Though I'm not a big fan of Argentina, based on what they've been doing to the Super Eagles, that couldn't qualify to the World Cup as well. But Bright, fantastic stuff from them. Having a new defender, a good defender as well. Talking of Lisandro Martinez, who is a butcher in that particular backline. Oh, come on, Bright.
Brazil striding.
Yeah, absolutely right.
I had Tunisia for dinner.
Yeah, 5. Scored 5 past them. But right away from the fact that it was Tunisia, this Brazilian team has showed quality. They've showed that they're ready for the World Cup. Everybody's playing. And then, unlike what we see in Nigeria, where players are complacent because they feel that they're indispensable. At Brazil, everybody plays.
No.
Everybody wants to put in energy to play. And that's what I love with the team.
I've got a problem. Maybe because the Europeans have been busy with the Nations League. Otherwise, why are we not having Brazil-Portugal pre-game friendly? Why don't we have Argentina versus who's there? England or Italy? So picking Cambodia, come to Africa, pick Tunisia, pick Ghana, go to Asia, pick who's there?
Japan. They played Japan a couple of weeks ago.
Maybe just go pick Turkmenistan. And then just do these things. And it almost it looks like what we had with Deontay and Joshua at some point in the heavyweight division of boxing. Just speak the Bond challenger. I say, well, bring Dillian White, I can handle him. Bring Andy Ruiz, would give him the title and we'll take it back. Well, no serious, guys.
Well, let's not go to the heavyweight thing because we might not close to that. But here is it. Typical of Argentina for me. Basically, look at Argentina as most friendly, mostly with smaller sides, and then they pick one big side, disappointing from a Brazilian point of view. But I think it's not doing them any good going to the World Cup because you're picking up easy games going to the World Cup. They could have played stronger games, not necessarily European side. Maybe look at other sides that are a bit stronger and play. And the question would be, where could that be anyway?
Yeah, because Europe, they have engaged themselves with this Nations League, and everyone is coming there.
I think if it was open, right? If it was open, I think the fixed friendlies: Brazil, England, Brazil, Portugal.
Yeah, 30 seconds, Victor.
Yeah, bro, let me talk about the issue about Mikel Obi's retirement from football. Mikel Obi is one of our indigenous players who has started match a long time. I know that African football is not really easy. He has made the success story. So the African, we still expect supposed to win the African best player. So it's not common, but I believe for him to come back home, he has required a lot. Now is a really crucial time for Nigeria. If the platform will be great for them to still put their action into here, it will be good. I wish him well in returning back. That's my thing. Thank you, Papu.
Thank you. Spain solved Portugal by a goal to nothing. Switzerland 2-1 winners of Czech Republic, Republic of Ireland solved Armenia 3-2. Ukraine, Scotland 5 blanks. Albania 1, Iceland 1. Serbia beat Norway by 2-0. Vlahovic and Alexander Mitrovic with the goals for Serbia. Sweden 1, Slovenia 1 as well. Welcome, football fan, name and location. Good to have you join us. Hello, what's your name? Where are you calling us from?
I think my word to Nigeria with Algeria. Can we play these friendly matches with other countries? Ghana has played with Brazil. Tunisia has played with Brazil. Can we play with other countries?
We'll play Portugal in November.
The next friendly will play Portugal
in November.
So we'll wait for that one. Greece 3-1 winners of Northern Ireland. Kosovo 5, Cyprus 1. Well, Alvaro Morata was a difference in that game between Spain and Portugal. Welcome, football fan.
Hello, Brett.
Top Gunner, take 30.
But I don't advise African countries to play Brazil. They are making them look like ball boys. But the next coming World Cup, I keep Croatia, Denmark, Netherlands. They do the top 3. Finally, but Mexico was fantastic. 2 goals in 3 minutes. He's taking the shot up to Cristiano Ronaldo. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining. Colombia stages second half comeback to top Mexico. And the other friendly we saw there across the world. It's a 3-2 win for the Mexicans. Colombians, I beg for pardon. Luis Sinisterra, that's a familiar name for Mariz. Wilmar Barrios added another. Colombia fought back from 2 goals and beat Mexico in that particular game in California. Alexis Vega scored from penalty spots, and Luis Diaz brought down Uriel Otuna inside the box, and Gerardo Ortega made it 2-0 as a finishing of a team move in the 28 minutes of that particular one. From here, guys, we'll be talking about club football, and it returns this particular weekend on Thursday. We'll be back later tomorrow. We'll be talking about Lionel Messi, the talk of possible return to Barca next summer. The PSG president hitting out at Barca already at the asset sales. And Christian Pulisic is eager to prove himself at Chelsea. To Graham Potter, Captain America is underwhelmed, even with the U.S. national team. We'll talk about that a lot more. Well, Mariz, let's have Facebook for the road.
All right, from the sports page, Solex has something live feed.
Yeah, just one comment on the live feed. Then UB account says, "Good afternoon, football fans. Congrats to Algeria for the win yesterday. Up Nema. Thank you so much, UB."
All right, too. Mana Sisongang says, "I don't understand why Fernando Santos allowed Ronaldo to play 90 minutes. I think we took that particular one." Well, Lucas Ivy comes with violence and says, "Bright is asking about the quality of the home-based players. I dare you to mention the games you've watched in the MPFL aside Aquinas and Nakada matches. You can't tell me that we don't have quality in this league to challenge Maruka and Okoye Unato like foreign players." Don Richie says, "Even those that are playing street football do better than them. Worst display, waste of time, energy wasting. Nigeria playing." Pauline Ubo says, "Please, can Graham Potter take Chelsea to where they are expected to be this season?" Secondly, in any football team, the coach needs to sign a competitive player, because in Chelsea there is no competition. In the last 5 seasons in Chelsea, Diego Costa scored 20 goals since 2017 till now. No Chelsea player is able to score 20 Premier League goals apart from Tammy Abraham, and that was last season when he scored 16 goals for Chelsea. Subaru says, "First of all, I love the new jersey. I love the lineup that started the game. I think we should maintain Bogum and Bass as centre backs. Who's always positioning cost us the game. I'm not convinced we should do this 4-4-2 thing. We're outnumbered in the midfield. That's the problem. Otherwise, we played very good." Kislo Moore says, "I expected nothing less from the Super Eagles. If they couldn't beat the B team, then I knew they had nothing to offer. The sanitization of our football must start from the glass house." Paul Polycarps said it was too poor for the Super Eagles on their game yesterday night. We should forget about this team and focus on other sporting games. Zeno John finally says, "It's unfortunate for our football in this country. I wish the football sector should leave politics and focus on the right thing that will bring results to the game. Congrats to Mikel Obi." Thank you, guys.
And thank you very much, guys, for being part of the conversation this afternoon. We thoroughly appreciate you. Talking Fabian Delph retiring. Well, that also grabbed the headline at 32. Well, we'll talk about Koke and a lot more when we get to Atletico Madrid and club football still returns. But Fotheringham has been named Huddersfield head coach. Well, we look forward to the big announcement regards the NFF elections from the sport minister. Hopefully, when we're back tomorrow, we'll have a lot more clarity regarding that situation. So at least we can talk about the NFF elections and how we can move our country and its football forward with the next administration. Thank you, Emmanuel Detz. Thank you, Bldyz. Thank you, Solarex. Thank you, Mariz, for joining. Thoroughly appreciate you. Oh, no birthday today and that.
The bed is actually bright. Happy birthday, anyway, Basi Gerald. Happy birthday, Udwak Essien. You have my very best wishes. And Ubong, Idogo, have my best wishes as well. So 2 for the ladies, 1 for the men.
Yeah, good thing.
Good quarter system.
And Bryce, James, Mark. Have fun, guys.